Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome to the Cámara Peruana de Comercio Exterior and the daily lectures that we have for different topics. This is going to be our English lectures. Remember that we have these classes Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 in the morning. There's going to be an interruption of this Friday because of, the holidays, okay? But you know that these are our schedules, okay? Before we begin, I would like to always remind you that COVID is still around. Please take all the necessary precautions if you go out. Remember to wash your hands. Remember to avoid touching your face. Remember to wear a face mask in case you travel. Wear those protective like helmets or protective shields that you can wear. Um, Numbers are rising day by day, so you should please be careful with that. Okay, if you go out, only if it's necessary, and then when you come back home, remember to take all the necessary precautions. Wash your hands, take off your shoes, change your clothes. Okay. Remember that maybe we don't feel sick, but we might get other people sick. So just take all the necessary precautions to make sure that this virus doesn't spread and that we can be able to spend some time with our family. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Giancarlo. Um, so please just again remember to take all necessary precautions. I know it's a holiday, so let's just be safe. Okay. Better be safe than sorry. So I just want to again welcome you to the Cámara Peruana de Comercio Exterior lectures. Today is Wednesday, December 30th. Okay, it's the last class of the year. I hope everyone had a great year and we have an even better 2021. Okay, remember that I follow, you can ask me questions through Zoom. The chat in Zoom, or also through the Cámara Peruana de Comercio Exterior's Facebook page, where I normally follow you and answer questions. Okay. The only thing that I will ask you is that if you ask me questions through Facebook, remember that for some reason there is always a certain delay. So I try to answer them as soon as I receive the comments or the questions. Okay. Very well. Today we're going to finish with a lecture about planning vacations or travel or making decisions to travel. So let's just begin. So as the last time, the title is Vacations in Europe, Lesson 2. My name is Carlos Martinez Flores. I am an English instructor and also a speaking coach. I am a former team leader at Pacifico University, and currently I am an EFL teacher at the Mate Purísimo School in Miraflores. Thank you for your time, and let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to show you are some common expressions that we can use to when we talk with people, when we good morning, when we talk with people, when we decide to call our travel agent and book a flight, buy a plane ticket to travel. There's some basic information that you normally should ask, like for example, prices, seats, the type of airplane you're traveling on. And this is what we're going to do first, okay? So let me just show you a dialogue. Okay, so here's a dialogue that you can see. The expressions that are in red are, yeah, you can use it as templates for your conversations whenever you contact your travel agent. So let's begin. Good morning, sir. How may I help you? You know, she's asking, she wants to know what she can do or he can do for you. How may I help you? Good morning. I would like to buy a ticket to New York, please. The use of would is to, instead of saying I want, you know, remember that we mentioned it last time. It's always proper to use modal verbs like would, should, could, to make the sentences more polite, more educated, right? So, I would like to buy a ticket to New York, please. Sure thing. I can help you with that. I will need some information first. When do you plan to travel? Mm, it all depends on the fare, to be honest. The fare is the price. Okay. It can be used for plane tickets or for any type of transportation. For example, if you take the bus, the fare in the Metropolitano is 2 soles and 50 cents, for example. And the average fare in the public transportation is around 1 sol 50 approximately. Okay, so and for example, taxi fares you negotiate. Okay, so fare is the price that you pay for in any type of transportation. Well, let's see. Do you have any preference with the weather? New York gets extremely hot in the summer and really cold in the winter. I've never seen snow, so make it in the winter. The expression "make it in" is like, okay, I want to do it in this moment, right? Great. So that would be between November and February. Christmas and New Year's are high season to buy tickets. Would you be interested in any of those dates? And when we say high season, that means the moment when a lot of people are traveling, you know. So there's a high season, there's a low season. Normally, high season tickets are more expensive because, like I said, most people are traveling during these days, so tickets become a little bit more expensive. Excuse me. What would the difference be between high season and low season in price? So we're asking, what is the difference? Is there a big difference? I mean, is the amount of, for example, is it 1,500 or is it 1,800, or is it the difference very big or very small? Well, would that be one way or round trip? So when we say one way, that means you only buy a ticket to go to your destination. Um, you don't buy a ticket to return. Maybe you're going to buy it later. Maybe you have other plans, okay? Or round trip. Round trip is the complete voyage, right? To go to your destination and to return back home. Round trip, non-stop or multiple stops, okay? This also depends. Uh, for example, if it's non-stop, that means that you're going to go directly to your destination. For example, whenever I have traveled to New York, normally I travel via LATAM, and they have their non-stop flights. So I sometimes prefer non-stop flights because I get on the plane and then I get off in my destination, right? Whereas if I take multiple stops, or that means that I'm going to arrive to other countries first. For example, I've traveled like this. When I've traveled to New York, I've made stops at Guayaquil, and I've made stops at San Jose, Costa Rica. And it depends. It depends on your preference. Like I said, I prefer to get on the plane, have something to eat, and then watch a movie and sleep, and then wake up with my destination. Other people prefer to just make an experience of it and make stops. And also depends on the price, right? Sometimes round trips are like more expensive than trips that are non that are more have multiple stops. I would like to have both options, please. Okay, let me see what I can find. As you can see here these are some useful expressions that you can use, and they normally don't change or are used as is. How may I help you? They're asking what can they do for you. I would like to buy a ticket to your destination, please. I will need some information first. That means that before they tell you the price of the ticket, they need more details. When do you plan to travel? They're asking you the moment. Normally, they're asking you the month, the date, but sometimes you can say at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, in the summer, in the spring. It all depends on the fare. Do you have any preference with the weather? Normally, this is more applicable to places where the weather is very, very noticeable. Like I mentioned in the example, New York, or places where, for example, rainy season is very strong, or it gets very hot or very cold. Here in Lima, the difference with the weather is not so big. So um, I don't think there's a big difference with the weather. I mean, maybe yes, it gets a little bit cooler in July and August, but make it in high season. Okay, that means that you will prefer in where most people travel. I mean, for example, these days, New Year's, Christmas, the vacations. For example, in the States in September and July, because that's when people leave for vacations. Here in Peru, sometimes also in July because of the June and July because of the different holidays in Cusco and in the Independence Week, etc. Would you be interested in any of those dates? Okay, so they're asking you if you have any preference. What would the difference be between high season and low season in price? Would that be one way or round trip, non-stop or multiple stops? Okay, so these are useful expressions that you will use or you will listen when you talk with your travel agent when you want to buy a ticket. Let's continue with the second part of this conversation. Here we go, sir. That means here it is. I have three options for you. First, I have a non-stop round trip ticket to New York the first week of December. Non-stop round trip. That means that going to and returning non-stop. Second, I have a two-stop flight to New York also the first week of December. That means two-stop flight. That means that you make two stops before you arrive to your destination. Okay, maybe you go from Lima to Guayaquil, and then from Guayaquil to Miami, and then from Miami to New York. Also the first week of December. And finally, I have a non-stop flight to New York the last week of January. So notice that here we have, the first one is the first week of December. That normally is high season. I have a second for the first week of December, again, high season. And the last week of January, this will be no longer high season. How long will your trip be? That means the duration of your trip. Because, for example, if I'm going to, I can buy tickets for a month or for 3 months or for 2 weeks. It depends on how long I'm going to be wherever I'm going. I was planning to use my work holidays, so about 3 weeks. Work holidays is the time that you have vacations. Okay, remember that vacation is American English, holidays is British English. Great, 3 weeks. Let's see. For the first one, the fare is 1,000 American dollars. The second one is 850, and the last one is 950. Is that the final price? Okay. Remember, we should always ask if it's the final price or not, because some prices don't have tax included. Okay, for example, at least in Peru, normally everything when you buy something, normally they give you the final price. The final price includes already the taxes, what you have to pay. But for example, in the US, no. In the US, when you go shopping, they tell you one price, and you don't get the final price until you pay. For example, this has happened to me many times when I've traveled. When I will go, for example, to a supermarket, or when I go to a grocery store, and I buy something that is worth $1, and when I go to the cashier to pay, I pay $1.10, for example. Okay, but the price and the tax is $1. Okay, so those 10 cents is the sales tax. Okay, and at the beginning I had problems with that because here in Peru, you calculate whatever you're going to buy by looking at the prices. But when you go to the cashier, the price is just the sum of whatever you bought. But in the States, no, right? In the States, for example, you need to pay an extra sales tax. So always be careful to ask for the tax. No, you have to add the sales tax and the airport tax to each one. Oh, okay. I would like to book the first one. How much would the total be after taxes? When the expression after taxes means after you add the taxes. After taxes, it will be $1,250. Shall I book the flight? Shall is similar to will, okay, and it's very formal when you ask questions of, do you want me to do this? Excuse me, what type of plane is that flight? It is an Airbus 787, a beautiful and big plane. Have you ever been on one? Yes, they are nice. What airline is it on? It is Flight 531 managed by LATAM. LATAM. Is there anything else with another airline? No, sir. It is the only one. Do you still want to book it? I guess. Okay, so here we're asking about the type of you know, you can ask for the type of plane if you have already traveled. Normally, the international flights tend to be big planes, and sometimes when you go overseas, they're big planes. Um, but if you have never traveled, then I guess asking for the flight might be relevant. The company, yes, okay, because sometimes we ask for the company because we want to review. For example, I have had mixed experiences with this company that is mentioned here. I have had bad experiences with other companies. I have had great experiences with other companies. So sometimes when we ask for the company is to evaluate the experience, the experience. In this conversation, when the man says, I guess, it's like, if I have no other option, probably he is not very happy with the, the company. Okay, so now again, let's look at useful expressions. Here we go. It's like, here are my options. I have a non-stop round trip ticket too. Okay, so remember, this is you can also say I have a two-stop round trip ticket, or I have a non-stop one-way ticket. So you can make a combination here. I have a two-stop flight too. How long will your trip be? That means how long you're going to stay, wherever you're going. I was planning to, let's see, the first one, the fare again is the price. Is that the final price? So you're asking if that's what you're going to pay at the end. Always remember, this is very important because sometimes we are accustomed to Peru and we think that they tell us a price and that's the price. Um, because normally the prices that we get here have the tax included. In other countries, no. Okay, tax is not normally not included. Okay, so you should ask. Um, you have to add sales tax and airport tax. Okay, every country has a different sales tax, and some countries they have the airport tax apart. Here in Lima, nowadays airport tax is included, but I remember many years ago when you wanted to travel, you had to make a line before going to immigration. You had to make a line to pay your airport tax. Okay, but now that tax is included in the tickets, as well as the sales tax. I would like to book. Book is to make a reservation. To pay for your space or your seat. And how much would the total be after taxes? That means you want to know how much you're going to pay after you pay the taxes. How much extra it's going to be. Okay, very good. So these are some expressions that you can use when you decide to buy a ticket or when you decide to get to buy to buy a seat on the plane. After taxes, it will be, shall I book the flight? Excuse me, what type of plane is that flight? It is an Have you ever been on one? What airline is it on? It is Flight 531 managed by. Is there anything else with another airline? Do you still want to book it? I guess. Okay, so these are expressions that you can use, like I said, when you contact your travel agent or when you want to buy a ticket to be able to travel. Very good. Now, this is what an itinerary page would look like. Okay, so this is what's called your booking information. Okay, so this is a common document that you get when you travel. So you get the date, of course, of when you made your reservation. Your reservation ID, it's normally like this. It's normally a combination of letters and numbers that whenever you want to check the status of your flight or when you want to check in or you want to see your seats, this is the number that you will have to memorize or please take note of. The name of the passenger, the person who's traveling, right? In this case, it's the name, and they always say if it's an adult or a child, okay, or infant if it's a baby. And normally it's always like this, okay? Whether it's in Spanish or in English, you're always going to find, for example, Boston to Barcelona, okay? So this is the origin and this is the destination. And here we have the date, okay? As you can see, it says +1. That means that you're going to, it's going to be one more day, okay? Um, So for example, this flight Boston to London, you're going the departure time, 7:20 p.m. You're going to arrive there at 6:50 of the next day. That's why it says +1. Confirmation number, again, you see the confirmation number is here. The flight number here, we always have the company. In this case, it's Iberia, and this is the flight number. Fare type, economy. We have economy, we have first class, we have business class. Okay, it depends on your budget. Okay, and here we have this is the airport. The first airport that it's always represented here is the airport where you're leaving from. For example, if you're traveling from Lima to New York, it would say, for example, Jorge Chavez Airport, and then you're going to arrive at John F. Kennedy Airport or LaGuardia Airport. Okay, so it depends. So like I said, this is normally the name of the airport where you're departing, and this is the name of the airport where you're arriving. Here it says non-stop. That means that from Boston to Barcelona, you're not going to make any stops. You're going to fly directly. Flying time is 6 hours and 30 minutes, and status is if it's delayed, if it's confirmed, etc. Okay. But notice that this flight is not the ending of the trip because here we have change of plane required. That means that you will have to get off the plane. You're going to have to take your bag. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, and they're going to go move to another plane. You have to go to another gate and stuff. And time between flights, that means that you're going to be in Barcelona for 2 hours and 25 minutes. Okay. So this is what it means. So as you can see, um, notice that it says Boston to Barcelona, but here we take off Boston and we arrive at London. So we're not at Barcelona yet, okay? That means that our final flight is going to be from London to Barcelona, okay? So now we have again the destination, London to Barcelona, the date, Thursday, April 14th, 2016, the time that we leave, the departure time, where we're departing for, and the time we are going to arrive and where we're going to arrive for. Again, we have the flight, confirmation number, the flight number, the type of seat that you have, flying time, and if it's confirmed or not, okay? So, and again, this is one way because there's no itinerary to return. So probably this person is going back home and just going to stay there. Okay, but notice, okay, so this if you see this flight in total is going to be 6 hours from Boston to London, 2 hours and almost and a half waiting there, so that's 9 hours, and then 2 hours and 10 minutes from London to Barcelona. So this whole flight in total takes approximately 10 hours and how many, 8, 9, 11 hours and 10 minutes. So this whole flight takes approximately time of 11 hours and 10 minutes. Okay. Now here we have an example of a round trip itinerary. Okay, so notice here we're going from Dubai to Mumbai and then back from Mumbai to Dubai. Okay, so this is a round trip. This is our departure, the first flight on going from Dubai to Mumbai, and then we have the return from Mumbai to Dubai. Here we have the same information as in the other slide, but we add some different information. For example, here we have meal. Okay, that means, for example, sometimes we're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on the length of our flight. For example, when I've traveled to New York, normally I left in the evening and I arrived at 7 or 8 in the morning. So here would say dinner or snack and breakfast. Okay. So it depends, and depends on what you paid for, and depends on the company. Okay, but normally it would say also this information package. This means how much your baggage can weigh. In this case, it's 30 kilograms. Okay, and so you can see this is again the status, just like in the other one. It's confirmed. It's non-stop. Okay, you're leaving at 3:55 in the morning and you're arriving at 8:25 in the morning. Okay, the total flight is 3 hours. Okay, then the aircraft, the type of aircraft in this case, which is also different from the other one, here it tells you what aircraft, Boeing 777, and it tells you also the flight number. Okay, airline contact, the flight number Emirates EK 504. Okay, so the contact is in Dubai and the number, and well, your booking reference, your e-tickets, sometimes also other passenger name. Sometimes if you don't have this number here, the booking reference, you can also use it by e-ticket number. Okay, so this is another way of an itinerary, but basically it's the same information. Okay, the departure, where you're leaving from, the airport where you're leaving from, the terminal, and the airport where you're arriving in the terminal. Okay, so and then the return, this is the return ticket with the same information, but now going back home. Okay, again, notice that the hours a little bit more, but the total trip, it's only 3 hours. Okay, so and when you return to another 3 hours, but there's no stop. Okay, that's why it's non-stop. So these are two ways that you can see your itinerary and the information that you have and what it means. Okay, like I said, this is the basic information: the name of the name of the passenger, the date that you're leaving, the date that you're arriving, the time and where you're leaving from, the time and where you're going to be arriving, the flight number. You know, normally it's the company and the plate number of the plane. Here in this case, we have the contact of the company, of the airline of the airline, the type of cabin you're in. Remember, it could be business, first class, or economy. Well, your reservation number, your e-ticket number, how long the flight takes. In this case, and because in the first one we didn't have it, but in this case we have the type of plane, the food that you're going to receive, and your how much your luggage should weigh. Okay, the weight of your baggage, of your luggage. Okay, so this is another example of your itinerary that you can see after you have bought your ticket, after you have decided the date, and if it's one way, if it's round trip, if it's high season, low season. Okay, so this is what you get after you have booked your flight. Very good. Let's continue. Now here are some common things that you might see when you travel. I just wanted to see if you can match. Okay, let's see who can tell me what this first one is about. We have plane, airport, meal, water, gate, departures board, check-in desk, duty free, baggage, seat belt, overhead locker, boarding card. Okay, so let's see. So we have these options, and now the first one here. What do you think It is. Okay, let's see. The purchase board, let's see. The purchase board, okay, let's see. Very good. The first one is the departures board. Very good. Now the next one, this second is an easy one. Okay, this is an easy one. It's a plane. Let's see. Very good. It's the plane. That was an easy one, right? Good. What about the next one? This picture here. It is the meal. Yes, it's the food because you know this is what you have. Normally, all the seats have this, right? You lower your tray, and you collocate there your food or your meal, your breakfast or your drinks. What about this one? What do you think it is? Check-in desk? Hmm? Maybe, we don't know. Any other alternative? This is the gate, right? You know, this, for example, here we have gate C10 and gate C11. Normally there's a tunnel where you go in through when you want to board your plane. Now, look at this picture now. I think, Ms. Vargas, this is what you were referring to before. The check-in desk. Let's see. Very good. Yes, this is the check-in desk. This is where the first thing you do when you arrive at the airport, right? You go and they check your flight, they check your tickets, they check your documents, they check your passport, they give you your seats, and then they give you your boarding pass so you will be able to board the plane, right? So this is the first, and you wait, you give in your luggage, your baggage, so they weigh your bags and everything at the check-in desk. This is the gate. The gate is different because this is when you're going to board the plane. You already went to the check-in desk. Next, what is this? Hmm? What do you think this is? Any ideas? This is the place where you can normally at the airport you can go shopping. This is the duty free. Very good. It's called duty free because you don't pay taxes. This is the only place in the airport that you don't pay taxes. Any port of entry normally is duty free. I remember that when back many years ago in Tacna and in the north, there used to be duty free places where you didn't pay taxes in these areas, right? So yes, this is the duty free. That's why sometimes you get things a little bit cheaper. Next, this is just the general thing, you know, where people arrive from when they take planes. This is the airport, right? Now let's look at this picture over here. When you enter the plane, there's a place where you collocate your carry-ons. It's a place where you collocate your bags and where you collocate your your small suitcases. And normally they are above your seats. Very good. They are the overhead locker. Over your head, right? Overhead locker. Very good. Very good, Nicarlo. Very good. Thank you for your participation. What about the next one? Your baggage. Very good. Your baggage. Excellent. What about these like cards? These are what you get after you go to the check-in desk. Your boarding card, very good. This is where, for example, when after you go to the check-in desk, they give you this. It tells you your seat, it tells you your flight, it tells you the gate, it tells you the time that you need to be at the gate, it tells you the time that you're going to start boarding the flight, and it tells you the time where your flight is going to take off. Second to last, what is this? What is this? We have water and we have seat belt. This is the seat belt, very important for safety. So, you normally wear your seat belt. First of all, you wear your seat belt whenever the light for seat belt is on. If the light for seat belt is on, you must be wearing your seat belt. You also wear your seat belt when you're taking off. You wear your seat belt when you're landing. You can take off your seat belt when the plane it's flying up high, and you can walk around, go to the bathroom, and everything. But if that red seatbelt light is on, then you need to be wearing it, right? It's very simple. It seems complicated, but you just to collocate is very easy. But then when you finish, you just have to like there has like a little thing that you just pull up and it unlocks. Okay, and of course the last one is very simple. It's water. Okay, very good. So these are things that you might see in a plane. The departures board is, this is, I remember my parents have returned from New York since a couple of years ago, but 2 or 3 years ago they still lived in New York. So whenever they arrived and we used to go to Jorge Chavez to pick them up, the first thing we look, this is the departures board, but there's also an arrival board. And it was where we used to look at the arrivals, all the arrivals, international arrivals, and we would look for the flight, and it would tell us if it has landed or if it was confirmed or if it was delayed. So it was very exciting to see that board, to see if they had already arrived or not. Okay, and also departure. When I traveled, then I would go to see where my gate was or what time I was leaving. Okay, and we have the plane, the meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The gate is the place where you are about to enter the plane after you have gone in the check-in desk and after they have given you your boarding card. And after you have done all this, you can walk around the airport and go to the different duty-free stores where you can buy colognes, food, t-shirts, and stuff. And you normally they're duty-free, okay, so you don't pay taxes. The overhead locker is this little space above your seat where you can collocate your carry-ons, your bag, your small suitcases. Your baggage is whatever you cannot take on the plane, and they must go into cargo, and they have different weight limits, 30 kilos, 25 kilos. Boarding card is after you have gone to the check-in desk. It has all the information. It tells you the gate that you have to go to. It tells you the time that you have to be at the gate, the time that you're going to start boarding, the time that the plane is going to take off, and also has a little piece for your luggage. The seat belt is for security reasons and water, because in case you're thirsty. Okay, let's continue. Now, the next, when you get to the check-in desk, apart from checking in your information, your passport and things like that, you need to choose a seat. Okay. So now, this is a map of a small aircraft. Okay. Notice that here we have the cabin for the pilots. Here we have the wings. Okay. Sometimes, for example, people prefer to fly at the wings. My parents, they always fly at the wings. They don't like to fly neither two in the back or behind the wings. Of course, the front seats are always going to be um, normally first class tickets, but in this case, this is a seating arrangement of basically all the tickets, all the seats are categorized as the same. There are only differences, for example, if they are reserved, okay, of course, it's for the pilots. Selected seats is, for example, if you were buying your tickets and I want this seat, I click on it and it will turn green. That means that that's the seat that I have selected. Okay, then we have the well, by zones, right? Back zone, central zone, near the door zones. And these are, the yellow ones are more space because there's always extra space for two reasons. First, because they are near the exit doors. You see all these exit doors. It's always important to know where the exit doors are. And also because there are no seats in front of them, so there's extra room for your legs. Okay, so you can choose. Now, I'm going to show you another picture. This is a map of a small aircraft, but I'm going to show you another picture with a little bit more detail. But first, the types of seats. For example, whenever you want to look for a seat, they will ask you, would you like a window seat? You know, because they are next to the window, or would you like an aisle seat, which means you are next to the aisle. These are the aisles where you people walk through. Okay. I always prefer, and these are the wings, as you can see. I always prefer traveling on window because I like to look through the windows, but my parents, they prefer going in aisles because when they need to go to the bathroom and stuff, they just want to go. They don't need to tell somebody, excuse me. In this case, we have the center rows. These are the lateral rows, lateral, central rows. And again, we have, for example, we have um, A, B, C, E, G, H, and J. These are the and 17 number. For example, this seat here will be A26, and this will be B26. Okay, so we have rows, row 17, row 19, row 20, and we have column A, column B, column C, column E. Okay, so notice again, if you go like this, these are called rows, and these are called columns. Okay, and again, we have window seats, we have aisle seats, we have seats together, we have middle seats, you know, center seats, and you totally decide where you want to go. Okay, I want to have seats together. I want to have an aisle seat. I want to have a window seat. You choose and you decide. Okay, and like I was saying, these are bigger ships, and here we have, for example, first class. These are more expensive. Notice that we only have here one, two, three, four columns of seats, whereas in coach or economy, because coach is a synonym of economy, we have one, two, three, four, five, six. We have six seats, okay, instead of four like in first class. We have more space in first class. Um, and here we have, for example, column A, C, D, F, but in coach we have column A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, and again, we have window seats, we have aisle seats, we have center seats. In first class is only aisle and window. Okay, and then we have the gallery, which is, you know, where the flight hostess are, the laboratories, which are the bathrooms. Okay, and the closets where it's a closet. Okay, like any other closet. Um, so this is another way of the division of a plane. And here is a bigger plane. These are bigger planes, you know, 3-class configuration, 2-class configuration. We have first class, but here we have also a first or business class. Okay, notice we have, in this case, first and business in one area, but here we have first class in one space, and then we have business class in one another space, and then we have economy or coach. Okay, now economy class all have extra space for your legs. Okay, I prefer normally these types of planes. Okay, that's why sometimes it's good to know the type of plane you're traveling in. And some companies, for example, this company, all its economy class have extra space for their legs. Whereas in this plane, all the economy class doesn't have extra space for your legs. But this economy class with extra space uh, probably costs a little bit more. And then first and business class in one area. Okay. So notice how you have the seat letters. Okay. This is the location of the wing. It depends. We have the exit locations, the rows. You see, row number 1, 2, 3, rows and columns, right? And then, okay, again, we have the laboratory, the bathrooms, the gallery, storage closet, and the video monitors. all planes now have monitors in the seats, but I mean, in this case, it tells you where the video monitors are. In case, well, in case your seat doesn't have a TV, then you can sit near the video or you can sit far away from the video. These are the maps that every airline has, and you can choose. You can choose where you want to sit. Okay, again, window, aisle, middle seat. Okay, so these are things you need to take into account whenever you decide to travel. Okay, do I want to maybe I want to choose a flight, a company or an aircraft that has this three-class configuration where I'm going to pay economy, but I'm still going to, or coach, but I'm still going to have extra space for my legs. Or in this type, I'm going, if I want extra space for my legs, I'm going to have to pay more. Okay, so it totally depends on your, this depends on first, if, I mean, the price of the ticket, of course. Second, the airline, some airlines, this is standard. Okay, all their flights have extra leg room. Some flights, this is not standard. This is the standard. I mean, you have to pay for that extra space. It depends. It depends. Okay, but this is what you, when you choose a seat, this is what you need to take into account. You know, to the front, to the back, to the wings, next to the exit, first class, economy, coach, business. Okay, next near the laboratories. Okay, etc. Very good. And travel documents. Well, this is basically general information for everyone in any country. Okay, you always need a passport. I mean, even though, well, although in South America you can travel to places only with your ID, with your DNA, but it's always good to have your passport. Okay, if you can take it, it's better. You have a visa. Certain countries need a visa. If you're going to travel to USA, you need a visa. But if you're traveling to, let's say, Mexico, you don't need a visa. So, but make sure that you have the visa, and depending on the country you're traveling to. Your air ticket, well, your air ticket, you can go with your, nowadays, it's very common to have e-tickets, okay? So all you have to do is to take your itinerary, the document that we showed before, and it says e-ticket. You go to the front desk, and they just um, take note of your e-ticket, and then they will give you your boarding pass, okay? In the past, yes, in the past you used to have a ticket and stuff like that that you bought at the travel agency, but now no, now they just give you your itinerary and your e-ticket number. And when you go to a check-in desk, they're going to give you your boarding pass or e-ticket. Always take your ID. This is a must. You should always carry your ID, especially nowadays with security and stuff that's going on. Then you have your departure card and your arrival card. For example, this is where you're going to get this sealed. For example, Jorge Chavez. When you leave, you go to immigration and they seal this. They stamp the day that you're leaving, and when you return, this is what you're going to give back to the immigration officer. Okay, and he's going to seal the day that you return. He's going to keep it. The same for the arrival card. Okay, this is in the USA, for example. It tells you the day that you arrived, and when you go to immigration in the country that you're going to, they're going to again seal it with the amount of time that you're permitted to stay, etc., etc. Normally, this is given to you at the airport, and normally this is given to you while you are on the plane. When you're on the plane, they're going to give you this before you land, and you fill out the information. This is given to you at the check-in desk before you board the plane. Okay. Now, also another thing that's important nowadays is apart from these things, is the COVID information. You know, now you need a special document that says that you have been tested, that you're negative, or if you were positive, that you were positive in the past, etc. Right? But you need these documents nowadays. And also keep in mind that the size and weight of your baggage. I mean, if the company, like we saw in the itinerary, says 30 kilos, make sure that your bag weighs 30 kilos. If it weighs 35, you're going to have problems, okay? Nobody but you is in possession of your baggage. Please always make sure of this, okay? Because you never know. I know if it's family, it's okay, but still try to always carry your bag just in case. You never know, okay? Because they're going to ask you, when is this your bag? Did you pack your bag? Has anybody touched your bag? Okay, so just make sure that you can say yes to all of those questions. Make sure that you're taking only permitted items in your carry-on. Okay, remember that now you cannot carry um, glass items in your carry-on. You cannot carry any type of nail cutter or anything that can be used as a weapon. You cannot use it. You cannot carry it on your carry-ons. Okay, make sure there's always a list of the things that you can, and if there are some things that you cannot, and that you can, but with certain details, in a bag, in a Ziploc bag, etc. Okay, in case your baggage is overweight, make sure you have cash to pay for the excess weight, or be ready to leave those items behind. Yeah, I mean, if 30 kilos is the maximum and your baggage weighs 35 kilos, you have two options. You can take out those 5 kilos and put it somewhere, pay for that extra weight, or just leave it and just, go and leave it. Okay, you decide. And finally, make sure you declare everything that needs to be declared. Okay, so when you get your departure card and stuff like that to immigration, make sure you say, if you're taking something that needs to be declared, declare it, because you might have problems when you leave or when you arrive, wherever you go. Okay, so just make sure that you always declare anything that needs to be declared, and there's always a list of things that you have to declare and things that you don't have to declare. Okay, very well. Now let's practice a little bit, okay, before we finish. So airport terminal B, the building where air passengers arrive. What about aisle? Notice that we have the letter S here, but we don't pronounce it. It's aisle. We don't say aisle, no, aisle. Okay, what is the aisle? Who can tell me? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or H? D, let's see, the aisle is letter D, very good. What about check-in? What is the check-in? H, let's see. Very good. H, check-in, the action of showing your passport and flight information at an airport counter or desk. Very good. And aisle is letter D, place between the rows of seats where you can walk. What about departure lounge? Departure lounge. Hmm? Departure lounge. Letter A, let's see. Very good. Very good. What about a departure lounge, a place where passengers wait to get on the plane? What about the gate? Hmm? What is the gate? If you said letter F, you were correct. The gate is the place where passengers get on or off a plane, right? Like I told you, the gate is where you board the plane. Normally there's a tunnel where you go into the plane or leave the plane. Immigration. What is immigration? Any ideas? Immigration. So if you said letter G, you were correct. Place where your passport or visa is checked. Very good. Now, two more. Passenger and security. What is passenger? Letter C. Very good. Someone who travels by plane, train, etc., but not the pilot or the driver. Very good. And finally, security is the last option. Letter E. Place to check for guns and illegal things. Very good. Very good. So this is some vocabulary. I'm glad that you were able to find the meaning. And now I'm going to show you here. My flight to London. Okay, now here Adriana is telling Silvia about her flight to London, her experience. Okay, so here we have some blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And here we have some options. These are all verbs. We have board, check in, fasten, find, land, sit, serve, take, take off, wait, walk, and watch. Okay, so what I would like for you guys to do is, these are all verbs, but since I am telling the story of, it begins with last month, so everything is in the past, all these verbs would need to go in the past tense in these spaces. Let's do the first one together. Last month was my first time to fly by myself. I was a little nervous, but it was exciting. First, a taxi to the international airport terminal. I mm, I took, let's see, I took, very good. I took a taxi to the international airport terminal. Then I at the check-in counter. Then I at the check-in counter. Board, check-in, fast and fine, land, sit, walk. Checked in maybe, let's see. Very good. You checked in because check-in is also a verb. You checked in at the check-in counter and to the departure lounge at gate 64. And to the departure lounge at gate 64. We have board, check-in, fasten, find, land, sit, serve. Which would you take? Which would you collocate? What do you think? Took off. Took off has to do more with when you're. So let's see. We walked. We walked to the departure lounge. It was early, so I didn't have to wait a long time to go through immigration and security. I in the departure lounge for about 25 minutes. Waited. Ms. Vargas, thank you for participating again. Missed you. Waited, very good, for about 25 minutes. And then I showed my passport and boarding pass before I which one means to go on the plane? Very good, Giancarlo. Very good, Giancarlo. Excellent participation today, Giancarlo. Boarded the plane. After I boarded the plane, I walked along the aisle and seated. Well, the past of sit is sat, remember. But in this case, I walked along the aisle and found my seat, okay? Found my seat. And then now, Giancarlo, and then very good, very good. Very good, Giancarlo. Then I sat down, very good. And my seat belt. What is the action of collocating your seat belt? The action starts with an F and it's a regular verb. Starts with an F and it's a regular verb. Fastened. Very good. Fastened my seatbelt. That means to collocate and put it strong. I was lucky because my seat was a window seat, so I could look outside as the plane. The opposite of land, this is when you go into the sky. When you go into the sky, this is took off. Very good. Took off. Took off. Yes, very good. Took off. Very good. Very good, Giancarlo. Yes, took off. After a few hours, the flight attendants asked dinner. Hmm? Serve. Very good. Served us dinner, and then I talked to the passenger sitting next to me. His name was Leonardo, and I was surprised to find out that he was also traveling to London to study English for the summer. Finally, an action movie. This is simple. I, starts with a W. Very good. I watched an action movie, and then our plane, the opposite of take off, and the only option you have, landed. Soon after that, it was a great experience and I made a lot of friends during my 6 weeks in England. I'll email you again after I fly back to Italy next Saturday. See you soon. Love, Adriana. Very good. Very good. Okay, so notice that these are verbs that are normally used with traveling. Board, fasten, check in, find, land, serve, sit, take off, walk. These are verbs that are commonly used with when you talk about traveling. But since we're talking about something happened in the past, we have to collocate them in the past tense. As you can see, most of them were regular, like boarded, waited, served, watched. Some of them were irregular, like took, sat, found, and took off. Okay. Um, just we need. Luckily, there are more regular verbs than irregular. So the irregulars you have to memorize, and the regulars just add ed. Checked, boarded, waited. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much for your participation. I will see you on Monday, January the 4th. It's going to be a great day. And the topic will be at the airport. And if you, thank you for your thank you, Yang, for your participation. Thank you for the two students who have participated. Thank you, Giancarlo. Thank you, Ms. Vargas. Thank you for your participation. Excellent participation. Um, and that will be all for today. Please remember to always continue with taking care of of yourselves. Okay, no, thank you for everything, Ms. Vargas. Thank you as always. Um, um, if you go out, please make sure that you wear your masks. Wash your hands, your alcohol and stuff like that. And let's hope we have a great New Year's. I won't see you until next year. Okay, so have a great New Year's Eve. Have a great New Year's Day. Enjoy with your family. If you cannot see them now, you can try to contact them via one of these video calls. But don't worry that soon everything will start going back to normal. Okay. God bless you and please stay safe. Here's my information, my contact information. My email, cjmflores@gmail.com. My WhatsApp number, 947-390-436. And finally, my LinkedIn username, cjmflores27. In case you have any questions, I'll gladly help you and try to solve your questions. Okay, so again, Happy New Year's. Have a great end of the year and a better 2021. And I will see you next year. God bless and take care. Bye-bye. Have a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Carlo. Take care.